your thoughts yesterday, the win. I know you and Peggy were on post-game. I think it was important, maybe not important, but it's somewhat meaningful, and I think Caleb told you why for those players.
Yep.
There was a lot of losing that they endured.
Well, it's a lot of streaks that are ended. You can't go at it. We talked about it. It would have been an 11-game losing streak. It would have been the 12th straight against the Packers. It would have been 21 in a row on Sundays on the road, right?
Right, yeah.
So
they broke them all.
All that was broken in one fell swoop, one game at the end of the season. It may not mean much as far as it makes you 5-12 and who really gives a rat's ass.
Right.
It also stopped you from going 0-6 in the division, and it stopped you from going 0-8 on the road. So a lot of things. It stopped a lot of things. The Bears didn't win. Well, they only won one, but at least you can't say they didn't win any. So it did. And I'm sure those guys felt good about themselves.
You could see the way they
finding a way,
right?
Finding a way to win a game. It's like, thank heavens.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, both those NFC teams that lost in the final week of the season, they enter the playoffs a little bit wounded.
Yeah.
Green Bay's wounded. They're going to play Philadelphia. They're going to get their ass stomped. And Minnesota's got to find a way to collect themselves.
Yes.
And then go in and play a pretty not the same Rams team the Bears beat.
Not even close, Jurko.
Not the same Rams team, yeah. Not the same Rams team that the Bears beat.
Now, the Bears played them without Puka, remember? Without Cooper.
Without both of them.
They had another injury, I feel like, in that game, too, Jurko. I'm trying to remember who it would have been.
And it was in
like
Chicago.
Significant one.
And Jared Verse kept sacking the quarterback, and they kept getting penalties.
That's right.
Remember that?
Yeah, 100%. That's when we knew Jared Verse was good. We're like, holy cow, this kid's for real. So, how would you define this season? Like, most simply put, as someone who was here every week talking about it, you did all the post games with Peggy.
I think this is a season that exposed the Bears. It exposed the Bears for what they thought was a very talented team. They might have some talent, but they don't have talent 1 through 50 like they thought they did. That was a crock of blank. That's what that was. So I think this is a season that exposed the Bears, and it exposed their talent level. I think their talent was better than what their record was, but it doesn't make a difference. Your record is what your record is. You lost games because you deserved to lose games. And I think it exposed them. It exposed some guys they thought they were going to be able to count on. And those guys got to be gone.
I think that's well said. I think I'll go back to what you had pointed out over the summer when, after one of the Hard Knocks episodes, we were playing sound of Ryan Poles talking about how tough it's going to be to make the roster. And you even said it in the moment. You go, boy, you feel really braggadocious about a roster that hasn't done a lot of winning the last couple of years, So you kind of called that one.
And I still had it. Yeah, I mean, I kind of, when he said that way,
yeah, you were
I go, listen, you're not a Super Bowl team.
Even though you picked them.
Even though I picked them to go to Super Bowl.
But
you weren't
silliness.
a defending Super Bowl team.
Of course not.
To where you've got no competition on your roster. You were a 7-win squad.
Right.
So, it made you scratch your head a little bit. You didn't address everything. And if you did, you piecemealed it. Mm-hmm. You put a makeshift defensive end out there opposite of Sweat. Then when Sweat got banged up, you didn't have a pass rush at all.
Yeah, you really didn't.
Yeah, and so how do you grade Sweat? If he's hurt, how do you fairly grade him? If I got a basketball player that could dunk a basketball player, he sprains his ankle and he can't dunk the basketball anymore.
How do you grade him?
Well, he doesn't have the explosion he had before. He doesn't have the quickness he had before. He doesn't look like the same player he was before. That's because he's not the same player. He's playing injured. And playing injured in this league is what you've got to do sometimes, but it takes away how great an individual can be.
I'm willing to give him a little, cut him a little bit of a break and say, hopefully, you rehab, you get healthy, and you stay healthier next year. Look, he played 16 games, but I think to your point, that's a guy that was playing hurt.
Yeah.
12 quarterback hits and 5.5 sacks.
Not enough.
They need more
out of that money, right?
Sweat.
So you've got to make one move, and you can drop one player off the team. And I give you a choice of dropping Sweat, or I give you a choice of dropping Edmonds. Who do you drop?
Edmonds.
Easy, right? That's not even a question, right?
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
That's barely a question. I've led you to an automatic answer, which is Edmonds, which is what I think should happen. I think Edmonds needs to be shown the door and say thank you for your effort. Not necessarily your achievement, but thank you for your effort that was out there. You can go play with somebody else. And somebody might be happy to have him at $10, $11 million a year. But at $22 million, you grossly overpaid in free agency.
Yeah. Look, they didn't want to pay Roquan.
Well, they
which
didn't
I
want to pay
understood.
Roquan more.
Yeah, which I understood because you're not placing a huge amount of value on that position on a non-rush linebacker. And again, it's like they brag then about I don't know. Sometimes the fan reaction makes me scratch my head too.
Your problem is
look how bright they are. They got 2 for the price of 1.
But
Neither one of
TJ
them's close to being as good as
no.
Roquan
But
Smith.
TJ Edwards is a baller.
Well,
And when you say he's not as close to being him, he did lead the league in sacks. In tackles one year. TJ Edwards has ball. You can't argue with that.
Yeah, he plays. He's very good for the amount of money he makes.
Right, and then the problem is the guy that they brought in that was supposed to be your second lineman to take 2 positions instead of 1. That's the guy that's disappointed you.
Yeah,
but don't let don't let Edmonds' stench get on TJ Edwards.
Would you rather have TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds or Roquan Smith? I guess
I would rather have TJ Edwards.
That's not the question.
Yeah, for his money, I'd rather have TJ.
But that's not the question.
I'd rather have TJ Edwards.
I like how you did that. You found a loophole.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to ring us up, you can at 312-332-3776. Speaking about one of those pass rushers opposite of Montez Sweat, can I play something from Demarcus Walker real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
He was in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel. Take a listen to, during open locker room today as the Bears were cleaning out their lockers, take a listen to Demarcus Walker talk about his old coach and if he were to be the Bears head coach.
I knew one day I was going to ask him that question. I knew it. If they will come in, tell you what, a lot of going to get cut out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry, but that's the truth, though. You know what I'm saying? I feel like discipline will be laid right down from the first day. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of those small things that we've done and gotten away with, that won't happen no more. So just from my personal experience, not saying this is what I've been there. So
the team needs that. The team needs that. Yeah, that's a good question.
No, I would say that to where there's not too much BS. I just think that to where with the skill set that you have. And why not maximize everything? So you don't want to leave no doubt behind of how much potential. If I had done this a little bit more, we could have done this. I know for a fact you're going to bring in a guy that's not going to leave no doubt.
It's the recurring theme of this season, where it's players just talk. And I think maybe you and Waddle have talked about this. Maybe it's a little bit of a crutch here for these guys. It almost seems a little too easy to constantly blame the coaches, especially the ones that are no longer here, as being the sole problem. But it sounds like there was no accountability whatsoever. Now, at what point does your so-called leadership council and your veteran players take it upon themselves to start policing things? I don't know. You could talk about that better than I would ever be able to. But you think you don't have the youngest team in the league. You've got some veteran players that have been around. At what point should somebody step up and say, we have to do this amongst ourselves? They never did that.
Right.
And it sounds like, for whatever reason, again, maybe it's a crutch. Maybe it's easy for them to point fingers at guys that have been shown the door. But it sounds like, to me, the recurring theme here is there was no accountability. There was no discipline. There was no real structure. And there was no great culture that they liked to brag about, that Ryan Poles continued to brag about even through the early portion of the season. None of that existed. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, no, it wasn't there. The players can see it right away, and the players subconsciously then take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Subconsciously. This team had 40 sacks.
They were about 19th in the league.
I dare you to find a year that the leading sacker had 5.5 sacks. The leading sacker.
On a team, you mean?
On a team.
On a Bears team?
Had 5. And the Bears, specifically, I'm speaking about the Bears. When's the last time, since sacks have been kept as a statistic, has the leading Bears sacker only had 5.5 sacks?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer.
I say take a look at it.
It would have to take a bit of research. I'm trying to think if it was maybe one of those sort of sloppy John Fox teams that weren't very good, or
No, I think the individual always was there. Even Alex Brown had 7.
Right. Yeah, you're right about
Jim
that.
Flanagan had 7 or 8 sacks. Even if you had a team that only had 32 sacks, one of the guys had it. They had 18 different guys with sacks.
Right. Their pressure numbers actually weren't terrible.
They had to bring the sink. When you bring the kitchen sink, then you're getting decent pressure. It's pressure by front 4.
Yeah.
What are their pressure numbers then?
Yeah.
Break it down. Look inside the numbers. That's what you got to do. Like my Pascal's triangle I made earlier about the victories this year.
That's awesome. Let's say hi to Mark in Lincoln Park. What's up, Mark?
Happy Victory Monday, man.
Oh,
yes. We're overjoyed.
Yes. may this season rest in peace. Having gone to the Sunday and the Thursday's game, I was happy to see the Bears leave town. Yerk, we're going to use your football genius here. Although your preseason prediction of Bears versus Jets in the Super Bowl was incorrect, a slight miss, you did nail the exact same records between the two. They are mired in mediocrity of 5-12. So good on you there, good kid.
Thank you.
You saw it.
I saw two teams that were equal.
Just busting balls, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks for
Appreciate it,
Thank
buddy.
you, Mark. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to get my chops busted until I get it right. And I deserve to get my chops busted. I don't
But
care.
you know what? I'll give you. I will say, and it's all fun and games. We do these preseason predictions, but like Jurko usually fills them out that morning. To be honest, you did notice things, and I'll continue to give you credit for it. You did notice some things.
I see things.
You're the way you've said for about the last 18 months. You're like, a little bit of a different way to start building a football team. Okay, maybe it works.
Maybe.
Little arrogant to be drafting a punter. Little bit chesty to be talking about, it's going to be hard to make our team.
Jeff Joniak's still a big fan of the punter. Loves him.
Please.
Talk positively about him.
You did see a lot of these things. Now, what led you to that day, 2 days before the season started? Again, we could bust your balls a little bit.
I love the Bears.
Jurko basically, we're doing predictions, and he starts writing them down as we go. So,
Wait a minute. How's our Wiener Gate doing?
me, you, and Abdallah.
Me, the three of
We
us?
tied, right, guys?
What are the final standings?
I thought we each had 7. You had 8.
Your final standings for the Wiener off. With 9 playoff teams.
9. Nice, Chris.
Black selected the Lions, Bucks, Packers, Eagles, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs, Bills, and Chargers.
9 of 14.
Chargers,
Congratulations.
And with 7, it is Carmen, it is Jurko, and it is Abdallah.
Yeah, so we got a
That
three-way
Denver.
tie.
Me erasing Denver.
Now,
Scratching off Denver was a problem.
to be fair,
And I put Dallas in after I originally had him out. Dumb. See,
To be
I
fair-
should have trusted that Dallas was not going to be that good.
Carmen, myself, and Chris both each have a Super Bowl team still in the mix.
Yeah, I have the.
Jurko does not have a
does
Super
not.
Bowl team in the mix.
Doesn't matter.
And also, Jurko was the most wrong about the Bears' record having 11 wins, where the rest of us had 10 wins.
We had 10. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we picked 10.
Well, oh boy. None of that matters.
No.
None of that matters. I'm glad you're bringing up a bunch of different facts that do not matter.
By the way,
I'm just mentioning it.
Three of us are having wieners.
I'm just
Three
mentioning
of us
it.
are
And
having
I'm-
wieners.
I know you two enjoy the living hell out of them, but
Love 'em.
I will also participate and have a good time.
By the way, you were asking when the last time the leading sack guy in the Bears own. You don't have to go that far back.
Oh, no.
2022.
Who?
Jaquan Brisker had 4.
That was the leading sacker?
Do you want to take a guess? If I gave you 50 guesses, I don't think you'd guess the 2 guys on the defensive line. There were 2 guys on the D line that tied for the lead with 3. I don't think you'd. I don't.
Who
think,
are they? This
Travis
is 2 years
Gibson
ago.
and Justin Jones.
Well, I remember Justin Jones.
Yeah.
They jettisoned him.
They did.
After
Jaquan
last
Brisker
year.
had 4. So, in 2 of the last
Oh, my God.
3 seasons, your leading sack guy has been 4 and 5.5.
I thought you'd be going to like 1979 or
No,
something.
2 years ago, when they were 3 and 14. Boy, we're stuck in some misery here, guys.
Oh,
At
boy.
least I think we have a quarterback. That's what I think. And I think we're going to spend a lot of the offseason talking about that, you guys.
So 2022 was the year that they traded. They got rid of Khalil Mack.
They did.
And they got rid of
preseason,
Roquan.
and then Roquan got traded
Okay.
before the
No,
Dallas
the other
game.
guy, too.
Adam?
Both those guys would have had more sacks.
Oh, yeah.
Khalil Mack had 8. Roquan had 4.5.
Yes.
Big number 96 was on this team, too. Aaron Hicks? What was his
Akeem
name?
Hicks. He was already
Akeem
gone
Hicks.
by, I think, by 22.
Was he?
Yeah, by 22 he was gone.
I thought he was still here.
No.
They did jettison him at some point.
Oh, yeah. He was
I
already
remember
gone.
his final year was when the Bears got their ass kicked in London by Richie Incognito in the offensive line.
no, his-
the Raiders. The Raiders.
Yeah, but that was 2019. His last year here was probably like
21?
2020 or 21. Yeah, probably 20, probably after Nagy.
Yeah. He probably stuck around with Nagy, and then it was goodbye.
Yeah, his last year here, Yerk, and
He
then he
was
went to
a man.
Tampa for 2021 was his last year here.
Yeah. How many sacks do you have in 21?
He only had 3.5. He had 7.5
Yeah, the year
in
before.
18, and he had 8.5 when the year they were. I'm sorry, he had 8.5 in 17, and then the year they were very good as a defense, he had 7.5 more in 18. Yeah, so you don't have to go all that far back.
Oh, 5.5 sacks.
Jesse's in
I'm
Buffalo
Michael.
Grove. What's up, Jesse? Jesse,
Jesse.
going once,
Jesse, you're in Buffalo Grove.
twice. Jesse's gone. Let's go to. Did that drop?
Yeah, it dropped.
There we go.
Sweaty
Ted
Teddy.
in
Let's
Lake
go to Sweaty
Geneva.
Teddy.
What up, Ted?
Hey guys, happy Victory Monday, happy New Year. All right, I have a question. I asked this to the afternoon guys a couple months ago, but I'd like to ask it of both Carmen and Jurko here. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is about Caleb Williams. 10 being a very good quarterback. I was trying to think of a name, maybe like Matt Ryan, maybe even like I guess Joe Flacco, because you got the Super Bowl ring. Of him ending up like that. Like, I'm not saying Mahomes or Allen, but like very good, competitive, maybe competes for a couple MVPs, yada, yada, yada. That's a 10. And then a 1 is like he's going to be done. Where were you at after the draft on a scale of 1 to 10? And then where are we at now for Caleb on a scale of 1 to 10?
All right, good question, Ted. Let us debate that for a second.
When they drafted him, I was at a 7.5, and where I'm looking at him now is a 7.5.
I think I would raise it up slightly, but I like your 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5.
I think I'd go like 7.5 to 8.2. I'm going to get real technical.
That's fine. It's an improvement.
I'd raise it up a little.
If you can do that with Pizza Kid, you can do that with quarterbacks. That's for darn sure.
Portnoy's taught us that much.
That's 100%.
So I like the question, Ted. I'm actually listen. I've been wrong before. Could be very wrong again. I like this quarterback exponentially more than I ever liked Mitch Trubisky. And of course, I'm not talking about personally. We're talking about the way they play the position, right, Yerk? I never thought Mitch could play, even after 18. And Yurko and I were two of the few that were like, it really wasn't that good in 18, everybody. I'm not sure what you thought you were watching. Everybody got all excited about the Tampa game. The Tampa defense was like one of the probably 5 worst of the last decade. I never really saw it with Mitch.
There was a question put in where we said the only answer was the Buffalo quarterback, right? The question was who raised his thing. Matt Ryan raised his.
Oh, from like
substantially from his rookie season and his
percentage?
second season. His completion percentage went from 61.1, 58.3, 62.5, 61.3. It jumped in his 5th season.
Is that with Shanahan?
And went to 68.6.
Is that with Shanahan?
I can't tell you. I think All Pro 1. No, 2016 was with Shanahan.
Okay.
But it may have been Shanahan's first year. I don't know.
Okay.
2012 we're looking at.
Shanahan wasn't there in 2012.
You're looking at the wrong guy. 67, 66, 69. You know what I'm saying?
It got
69.
better.
So there's another quarterback that you could take a look at. But it wasn't until his 5th year it jumped to 68.8 from being mired in the 61s, a 62 and a 58. So can it happen?
Yeah.
Yes. Does it happen on more than one occasion? Yes. And you just have to go do a statistical analysis of it. But since you made me look up Matt Ryan, or the caller did, I looked him up to see exactly where he was. I mean, I'll take 10-plus seasons.
Matt Ryan was a very good
4,000-plus yards would be the first one ever.
And I think that was Ted's point. He's like, Ted's very good. Maybe not, not Mahomes, not Lamar, not Allen, but like
430 touchdown seasons. I think I could find a way to take Matt Ryan and say, I think I'm okay. I'd be in pretty good shape if Matt Ryan was the guy. 381 touchdowns to 183 interceptions.
Yeah.
I think I could find a way to survive with a Matt Ryan-like quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I like him. Like I said, I am more encouraged by Caleb than I ever was on Mitch, than I ever was on Justin Fields. And
by the way, Caleb Williams' rookie season better than Matt Ryan's rookie season.
Yeah, I'm not shocked at that.
Well, I'm just letting you know. I'm here for you. Now, he went 11-5 because he had a better team.
Yeah.
Right? He went 11-5, but he only threw for 16 touchdowns, had 11 interceptions, 3,400 yards.
Yeah. Here's some of the good. So, like Caleb, the touchdown interception ratio is good. It's 3.3 to 1. The quarterback rate, and some people are like, he's like Shea made a good point. Some of those throws, he wasn't giving anybody a chance, let alone the other team. He wasn't giving his own receiver a chance to make a play, let alone the other team to intercept it. Okay, I get that. Some people say that it's just he's not throwing the ball downfield enough. I think that's some of his intended air yard numbers and some of his ADOT, some of his average depth of target. I get like it's going to be skewed a little because they were down constantly and they had to throw. But out of 39 quarterbacks who had at least 200 pass attempts this year, Caleb's ADOT was 15th. It wasn't like ridiculously low.
It wasn't 31.
Right, exactly. There wasn't 39. It wasn't 38. It wasn't 31. It was 15th
Yeah.
out of 39 quarterbacks.
You know what he did improve in?
It wasn't ridiculously low.
You know what he did improve in? Remember that throw to the right sideline that he kept missing over and over and over again early in the season?
In that little hole.
He finally started connecting on that ball.
Yes, he did.
So he finally started figuring things out in that direction. You know, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to get it in there.
Yeah.
You need to split those two guys. You need to get the ball in there. Then you got a chance to make something happen.
Yeah.
So at least I can point to one area and say, hey, this is it.
Yeah.
I watched Joe Burrow on Saturday, right? He played.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see they put the clock on him and how quick the ball was out? He was still under pressure and the rest of the whole day.
A lot.
But he got the ball out to T. Higgins. He got the ball over to Gesicki. That whole first drive that they ended up scoring a touchdown out was T. Higgins, Gesicki, Chase.
Yeah, it's clinical.
I mean, what are we doing? And the ball's out 2.0 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. He hits that back foot. He's firing the ball. Back foot firing the ball. Back foot firing the ball.
I'll give you some good and some bad here, okay? We can continue to discuss it. So the good. The touchdown-interception ratio, I think, is good.
Yes.
Okay? The interception rate was 1.1%. Again, I'll go back to those 39 quarterbacks, Yerk, that had at least 200 attempts this year. Caleb's interception rate was the third best lowest in the NFL. Justin Herbert led the league, 0.6%. Lamar was 2, 0.8%. Caleb was 3, 1.1%. Now, you want some of the bad?
Oh, yes.
I'll give you bad.
I want the bad.
Oh, and a quarterback rating of 87.8. Like, sure, that's not ideal. You want that to be up if you can, 94, 95, around 100. Sure, but like as a rookie, 87.8, like that's not tragic, okay? The bad, the sack rate. We've talked about this now for weeks. Yurko and I have been talking about this for weeks.
Sack rate.
You cannot play offense in this league if the quarterback's getting sacked north of 10%.
That's
of the
right.
time.
In French, they say sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu. 11% is way too high. So out of that same data set of quarterbacks, those 300 quarterbacks again here who had 200 attempts on the season, York, the sack rate was the third highest in the league after Deshaun Watson and Will Levis. And we know how much they stink. So that's not good.
No.
He finished 30th, which again, this is not great. You know, you're talking now bottom third of the league in EPA plus completion percentage over expectation. And if you're wondering where the other rookies stack up, Jaden Daniels was 8th. He was the clear winner amongst the rookies. Bo Nix finished 20th. Came on strong late, though. Bo's looking good.
Bo
Nix finished 20th, and Drake May finished 22nd. Again, Caleb was 30 in that statistic. So there's some good, there's some bad. I will reiterate this frame for the entire offseason. I do not think all hope is lost. I don't think that the Bears have a problem at quarterback. I think they can win with him, and I think he can be quite good. But you have to get this next hire right, and you have to find an offensive mind that's going to help.
And that's what's at stake right now for the Chicago Bears. They've got to get this next hire right.
Yep, 100%.
And we got legal counsel and a guy that can't pick offensive linemen as two of the guys that are making the decision. Oh, boy.
That's maybe not the
Oh,
greatest.
boy.